Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Laymen Daily Show. Well. You know a game is good, right? When they want to release it. When they want to release the game and the reviews at the same time. That's when you know you're in for a good game. It's a move of confidence, all right? It's a power move. You know, we can expect a good game here from RedFall. Now, there's already been some stuff that's been dropping for RedFall. Some early reviews, and it's not looking pretty. Okay, the review score's not looking great, and also the bugs aren't looking great too. But would it be a Bethesda game if there wasn't bugs? I mean, let's be honest now. It's essential at this point. It's essential. Let's get to the drop. Let's get into live reactions to the reviews. All right. How's everyone in the chat? Vitale, yo, what's going on, man? Mark, hey, man, what's going on? Grant, good to see you back, man. Good to see you too, man. Appreciate you. So, it is official now, 10:01. Let's look at these reviews. Let's see what it's getting. Okay, let's refresh. Anticipation, let's do it. What? Where are the reviews? It's 10 o'clock. Okay, they're not dropping yet for some reason. So maybe it's just a 0 across the board. 0 credit reviews. No one could bear it. No one wanted to do it. They just couldn't bear it to do it. Okay, it's not coming up yet. But you know what? One did. Also, Zelda got leaked. I did see that, Sala. I did see that. Yes, special editions are already out in the wild, and I think you can just like pirate it or something, which is never good. But you know, YOLO. Second narrator. Hi, Sam. What's going on, man? Appreciate you. Thank you so much for being here. ACG did bring his review out too early, right? He brought it out a little bit too early, and this is what he had to say in one of the clips that someone clipped.
RedFall feels confused, old, and unfinished. Worse yet, it's in a head-on race with Star Wars Jedi and Last of Us PC port to see who can have the buggiest game in 2023. Let me say this. RedFall has so many bugs for more than 2 hours, we thought one of the bugs was a feature we just hadn't discovered yet. Despite a game about vampires versus mankind, RedFall's largest battle is with itself, and with dueling philosophies that never come together. Does it want to be a 4-player looter shooter kind of title? And if it does, its options, presentation, and flexibility go directly against old and new classics in that genre. Or does it want to be a narrative-driven deep world? And in that way, it strangely finds itself looking into a mirror, and instead of seeing no reflection like vampires themselves, it sees all of the older siblings in the form of Arcane's prior titles. And
Oof.
It's just a bloated, unrelenting mess.
Oh. Oof. Love to see it. Bethesda. You love to see it. All right, we're going to continue to refresh this until we see the review source coming through. But for some reason, they're not uploading, which is really annoying. Interesting. Let's head to Twitter. Let's head to Twitter. All right, we'll have to come back to that. Would have been right here. But aside from that, I've also got this ready. RedFall reviews. Where are we with that? Ah! Okay, RedFall review in process with IGN. Oh, look at this. Who's this mad dog? Who is this person that's live right now? Oh my god, guys, tune in. He's sick, dude. He's a good-looking fella. Whoever this guy on the thumbnail is, good-looking fella. Good merch, too. Jesus. Looking good. Looking good. All right, shall we watch this together?
With RedFall arriving at IGN just a couple of days ahead of its official release date, we haven't had enough time to complete a final review yet. Certainly not without becoming a nocturnal monster myself and staying awake all weekend. However, after several sessions, solo, co-op with a friend, and also in a group of 3, I must admit I'm thoroughly underwhelmed by RedFall's vanilla missions.
Underwhelmed. What? No way. It was reviewing so well on Twitter. People were talking about how amazing this game is. That's impossible.
Lifeless world, and very disappointed at its lengthy list of display issues and bugs.
That shield is very Destiny. That shield that hovers around.
RedFall is a distinct departure from the likes of Deathloop and Dishonored. Certainly, some of that arcane DNA has sidestepped its way into the finished product, chiefly in the magical abilities of the 4 available powered-up protagonists.
All right, let's get to the end where they actually talk about... let's get close to the end where they actually start talking about the overview.
Disappearing characters and animations... and other mission-breaking bugs. During one side mission, I died trying to kill a vampire, but when I came back to finish the job, he was just a non-interactive blue ghost. When I came back again, his shield was there, but the vampire wasn't in it. During a co-op session, I found myself fruitlessly attacking an enemy who was standing right in front of me, but my friend saw as a dead body. At one stage, while playing solo, my crouch and start buttons broke. They just made clunking noises.
Oh my
My
god.
inability to crouch persisted after death, but returned when I fast traveled to a safe house. Right now, RedFall is not the game I'd expected. Certainly not.
Oh my
following
god, she
the
has
excellent
roller
You can
skates
check back
on.
with us later this week for our final assessment.
Now RedFall is one big shit show.
Oh my
More recent
god.
co-op shooter.
That is fucking great. Oh my god, this is going to be so bad. This entire thing for Bethesda yet again. It's still not updating, hey. That's so weird. It's not coming up with the reviews. It must be just getting minuses, and Metacritic doesn't know how to. It doesn't know how to deal with minus out of 10. It just has no idea. All right, what else? Let's see who else has reviewed this. Let's check out this one.
In this RedFall review video, I'm going to talk about my impressions playing through the game. I just finished it.
Let's talk about final thoughts.
Performance issues continue to plague the gaming industry, particularly on PC. But also in this case on console, Xbox has problems as well. They clearly don't have a performance mode, which means that they can't even get anywhere close to 60 FPS. And that should be glaring and shocking to people. I think the most alarming thing to me is that this is an industry-wide problem at this point. It is not just one or two studios that are screwing the pooch here. It is literally a whole bunch of studios, big-name studios with big budgets and big rosters.
ACG review up again. Okay, we're watching that
Are
next.
not ready to go. Frankly, I don't understand the logic of these companies putting out these titles that they know they have performance issues. They have to know. They have PCs. They have playtesters telling. What do you guys think of these issues with PC? I know you guys.
That's what's ACGs, man. That's another thing I wanted to talk about. Oh my god, the idea of having in 2023 a 30 FPS game on a console that touted itself to be 120 FPS ready for most titles, especially for a first-party title, right? Like, you would expect a first-party title, you know, to be definitely optimizing itself to make sure it's getting the best out of the Xbox, right? Like, that just makes sense to me. Right, where's ACG? Where is it? ACG. All right, here it is.
Confused, old, and unfinished. Worse yet, it's in a head-on race with Star Wars Jedi and Last of Us PC port to see who can have the buggiest game in 2023. Let me say this. RedFall has so many bugs for more than 2 hours we thought one of the bugs was a feature we just hadn't discovered yet. Despite a game about vampires versus mankind, RedFall's largest battle is with itself, and with dueling philosophies that never come together. Does it want to be a 4-player looter shooter kind of title? And if it does, its options, presentation, and flexibility go directly against old and new classics in that genre. Or does it want to be a narrative-driven deep world? And in that way, it strangely finds itself looking into a mirror, and instead of seeing no reflection like vampires themselves, it sees all of the older siblings in the form of Arcane's prior titles. And it's just a bloated, unrelenting mess. The tight gameplay and level design and ideals of prior games are ballooned out in this into fattened, empty sections with occasional cool battles, somewhat fun missions, and interesting story elements, but they are so far away from one another that at times you're going to be wondering,
the bugs in this game is fucked.
And will we all be dead by the time we actually get to something enjoyable next? Here's my review in progress for RedFall. It's an up to 4-player open world immersive shooter in a world.
All right, let's go to the end. We won't watch the whole video. Let's just kind of finish up with his final thoughts. But man, this isn't looking good for Redfall. Bethesda strikes again. It used to be kind of cool for Bethesda to be a bit buggy. It's like, the games are good, Skyrim's good, whatever, like, it's all good. But now it's like, you know, I know it's a separate studio, but Bethesda now, the sheen of Bethesda is clearly gone. All right, you can no longer get away with just being extremely buggy. You just can't, especially with Bethesda. They've just ruined it too many times.
On the bee vampire territory. And when you collect all that together, and when I jumped in, this code coming in late for reviewers, and it may take longer to really glean the deep gameplay of Redfall.
That's another thing. I mean, you give these people, so little time to review it because you know it's a dumpster fire. And then you make the embargo on the day of release. If not, it's already been out for like 10 hours, man. It came out at 12 a.m. or something for a lot of areas in the world. I mean, it came out at the embargo came out at 10 a.m. out my time in Australia. I mean, it's just almost criminal, man. It's criminal what they do. Rule of thumb. If a game is confident and it knows it's good, then they're going to give you code a lot longer than a couple of days. A lot longer than that. I mean, I've seen code come through when I was doing Laymen full time. 2 weeks, 2.5 weeks, 3 weeks. You know, that's a confident game. And that is a game that's finished. They know it's good. They know they've ironed out the bugs and they're ready to show because they're proud of it.
It's how it all came together, or didn't, that I started to notice I wasn't really enjoying myself. Like any trip, the destination is one part, but if the voyage itself is not that enjoyable, the entirety is brought down. Redfall's largest battles can be highly enjoyable, and the way missions are unlocked on the side is very rewarding. I felt surprised sometimes finding a story mission or being rewarded with finally opening some location by tracking down the story hints to a mission quest that weren't necessarily 1, 2, 3. I love that kind of stuff. Facing off against a vampire and its bosses getting more and more difficult is a test of ability, depending on the level of difficulty you chose, as well as good planning, especially when groups that you face end up building out with vampires that suck your energy, or a shield by spinning power spheres, and backed up by human sycophants in body armor wielding the same hardware you are. There's a growing number of times when it feels like a groggy morning, when this bit of fog is around everything, pre-coffee, where sometimes you're just sitting there going, what exactly is happening? Nothing necessarily makes sense. And then one more bug interrupts a mission, when you have to truck through the same location for the 5th time with no enemies in it, and nothing of note really offsets that run. That's when Redfall feels ultimately, completely, utterly confused with what it wants to be. At this point, this is a review in progress because I haven't beat it and the review came late for a lot of people. The core fundamentals of Arcane games I like are here fighting against the expectation of both Arcane's games as well as the caricature-like status of games as a service. Now, they have stated that they're going to make it so that you don't have to connect online. That was actually the least of all the problems I dealt with. Overlaying Arcane's design to filter deep story and that world narrative to the gamer through primary narrative elements reinforced by secrets and double meanings and all of that Lost style mystery box kind of thing, they are at odds and never come together. Luckily, this is a Game Pass game, so if you got Game Pass, you can jump in and do this, but I gotta say, this is one more game that's been disappointing, whether it be Jedi, whether it be The Last of Us Remake. There are a lot of these titles that just aren't coming together, whether it be technically or whether it be gameplay-wise. This is one that doesn't come together really as both. So anyway, that's it for me. I hope you guys like.
Oh my god, dude. Another not good review. I mean, the bugs are the big thing here, I think. The bugs are the ones that really are shining to be the issue. Big time issue. Now let's see if we can see these. Oh my god, here it is. Okay, there's one that came through. 62, man. 62. I thought it was going to be lower than that. From what the avalanche of negativity on Twitter, man. Let's read some of this shit. I mean, there's no critic reviews yet. We just saw them. Okay. Dextero says Arcane Studios, which is often so great, has whiffed widely here. Redfall performs awfully, at least on PC, and even when running at its best, it feels like a jumbled, disjointed exercise in compromised ideas. Oof. I need to make this bigger. I can't really read it so far away. Redfall tries to, GG Recon says, Redfall tries to bite far more than it can chew and delivers a package with a middling presentation of a lack of interesting mechanics and some pretty woeful performance. Despite its issues and perhaps like its cultists, I want to love it. It just won't love me back. Oof, that is a shame. 50, man. 40, 60, VG24. Okay, so while it resembles its predecessors, oscillating between stealth and shooting, its domestic space is filled with scattered stories to piece together. The results are soggier than usual. Don't get me wrong, Redfall is good open world FPS you can enjoy for dozens of hours with friends, but it's a noticeable step down from a high perch occupied by Corvo or Cult. It's the first missable arcane game in an age. Man, I think this is bigger than a misstep. I mean, it's just constantly being absolutely destroyed here. Now, let's look at some of the bugs that I saw, right? So this is some of the stuff that I saw. Firstly, this looks like a PlayStation 2 game.
Earn your keep, shithead.
This looks like it looks like a Xbox 360 game. This definitely looks like an Xbox 360 game. Now, I've zoomed it in there just to, like, see even the shadows there, right? Like, when the shadows are moving around. What's up with those shadows? See what I mean? That feels like PS2 shadows, like they were trying desperately to figure out how to make it look like you're moving through trees. Man. But the bugs also, man. Another Xbox miss, Eric says. Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, I mean, this is just another situation where Xbox... Turn the aircon off in here. It's boiling, ladies and gentlemen. Another moment where Xbox has their first party studios, man. They bought Bethesda. It's all working out for them. Leo says, Mr. Business with his Rain Man reading skills. Thank you very much. Yes, it's early. It's not actually that early today. It's now 10 o'clock. Like, I should be able to read. What's going on here? Natsu says, I'm glad Nintendo didn't release games like this. Yeah, I mean, like, very few times will we ever see Nintendo ever release something that actually is buggy. I mean, the QA process for them is just... It must be massive, man. Because very few times will we ever see anything like that, that we have issues with any sort of Nintendo games. And, like, also PlayStation, like, when I see their first-party AAA big stuff come out, like, it's never riddled with bugs, man. It's never really hit with bugs that hard. I got a couple of super chats. I appreciate that from Miles from $6.99 from Canada, I'm guessing that is. Here's some support, man. It's great to see you again. I appreciate you, man. Thank you so much for being here. JB said for $9.99, $3, no, didn't want to say anything. Just wanted to celebrate. Thank you very much. Appreciate you. I didn't even want to say anything. That you're a good man. You're a good friend, and I appreciate you, man. Redfall. This is what I saw last night, right? So it came out at, last night when I was going to bed. 4 out of 10, man. 4 out of 10. This is the first one that I saw drop, and I think that was originally I was going to talk about Jedi Survivor bugs, but then I was like, no. I've got to pivot here. Well, look. I knew Redfall was going to be a topic, right? And I knew that the game was coming out today. So naturally, those embargoes were going to lift because the game was out. So it was either going to be Redfall today or Jedi Survivor bugs today. But Redfall was just, everyone was talking about it. Everyone was talking about it. JB says, fuck, I was looking forward to this game. If it isn't Doom, Bethesda doesn't care. I feel like Doom, okay. Elder Scrolls, everyone's excited for Elder Scrolls, right? But Doom is like the last thing that's like holding it all together of people being like, holy shit, this is an amazing studio. This is the only thing. It's not even done by Arcane or by Bethesda Studios, by id, but, you know, they're the ones seemingly only laying the golden eggs. Gabriel said, Gabriel for $4.99, appreciate you, man. I think Days Gone was the last console game Sony put out with some performance issues and they were all fixed. That was like 6 or 7 years ago. I remember Days Gone. I thought Days Gone was good, especially with the gruff male protagonist. I thought it was a really good game. For what it was, right? Like, okay, it wasn't like an amazing game, but it was just like a middle entry AAA game that was filling in spaces between the giant titles releasing, right? And I think it did its job. I absolutely think it did its job. So, you know, because of that, it's actually, you know, I don't shit on that game too much. Now look at this, look at this shit. You being hit by a smooth criminal. Oh my god. Why don't developers learn, right? That it's okay to push back a game by 6 months. Like, we don't really care. As much as we want to play a game. If Zelda Tears of the Kingdom a day before release said, you know what guys, we need another 3 months, people would be disappointed, but a lot of people would still be like, you know what, I'm happy to know that it's going to come out when it's baked in the oven right. You know? Now I know there's other times in the year that certain games don't want to compete with each other. RedFall may have just felt like, hey, we got to get this out because it's buggy and that's what we do. Like, Bethesda, what do you mean there's no bugs in the game? Hang on, we can't release it then. Put some bugs in, keep working on the game until it's a buggy mess, then release it. That's what you got to do. Oh my god. Let's have a look if there's any more. We won't watch the whole reviews. I just want to kind of see the final. What else is here? What else is here? Yeah, where's GMan actually? Let's watch GMan. GMan. Yeah, RedFall is really disappointing.
I feel like vampires are one of the few things that gaming has really yet to oversaturate, and after a pretty long hiatus of memorable titles around the subject, we finally got another one to add to the list here with Arcane Studios' RedFall.
You serious?
A 4-player open-world co-op FPS that's just been released for Microsoft Windows and the new Xbox consoles, with PS5 players sadly missing out.
Can't let that stand.
When I was coming up for titles for this video, I kept trying to think of some kind of lame vampire pun that I could use. You know, something about the fangs not being sharp enough or nailing a coffin shut. But the simplest approach is often the best, and I think the most accurate way to describe RedFall is with one word: underwhelming.
There's nothing you can do to stop us.
Yeah, look, RedFall ain't exactly the worst game ever made, but it's sure as hell an unimpressive one. And for something that's been delayed, you've got to wonder if this is the state that it's even supposed to be released in. Taking a page out of Stephen King's Salem's Lot, the whole thing's set in a...
All right, let's go to the end where there's a whole section here called critiques. Let's have a look at the critiques. Phil Spencer is finished, Eric says. I'm telling you, as I said yesterday in yesterday's video, man, I think his days are numbered. And every release that is AAA or that exclusive to Xbox and is also, of course, going to be in the same ecosystem as PC, every game that's underwhelming, underperforms, or continues to build the narrative that Xbox and anything under the umbrella of Xbox is not doing well is not going to aid Phil. No way.
To actually take on the vampire god in each area, you first need to uncover their whole backstory, but then collect the skulls of underboss vampires, which are kind of like the sub-bosses in each neighborhood. And you'd think that maybe even these ones would be a little bit tougher, right? Nah, man, they're just the same as the other ones.
Nah, man. Aussie. Nah, man.
Throughout the map are a bunch of safe houses, and after unlocking a safe house, you do a side mission, which then makes it possible to do another side mission to take out that neighborhood's underboss, right? At which point, when they're killed, you can collect their skull and be 1/3 closer to accessing the area's vampire god. Does that make sense?
Got the gist.
And the only issue is that you have to collect these skulls to progress, more or less forcing you to do the side missions. And it's just that same loop repeated over and over with not really that much changed. Oh yeah, and by the by, this is all on the highest difficulty mode. Well, at least the highest difficulty mode you have access to for the first playthrough. And I feel like you really have to have a complete mental lapse to ever be properly killed here. Now, I played solo for 70% of my game time here, and I did die a few times to certain boss fights, but that's only when I got kind of distracted, and nowhere near as often as you'd think I would considering the mode I was playing on. I just felt like outside of the boss fights, there was never like a sense of the difficulty really ramping up. You just get inundated with items and weapons from the get-go. In fact, I got my first legendary after about half an hour of playtime, and it just never really evolved from that. I actually would have really appreciated if some of these vampire types were more or less unbeatable unless you'd reach a certain level or unlocked a certain weapon type. You ever play that game Terminator Resistance? Well, it was a really fun game set during the Future Wars, and for the first couple of hours of the campaign, you had to outright avoid the T-800s because you just didn't have the weapons to take them out head on. You had to find and unlock the plasma energy weapons, which could actually damage these things, but before that, you more or less had to run away or just avoid them entirely.
I like his reviews.
I wish that they kind of did something similar.
I like what he does with his
Maybe
reviews.
they could make it so you had to find the technology to first make the UV guns in the first place, or craft your very own stake launcher after finding the right components. But instead, they took the most casual approach and made every single feature and weapon obtainable from the beginning. So it just feels like there's no real room for progression. You even get access to all of your abilities after a few missions. But ironically, they don't include better versions of medkits. So the medkits you've got to use when you've got 100 maximum health points are the same when your health has reached like 400, requiring mass spam.
Yeah, I mean, this is just, again, more negativity. Let's have a look. Come on, give me the Xbox One. It's not giving me the Xbox One. That's so upsetting. Oh, man. Let's see if this has now changed a little bit. Nah, still the same. Yeah, so when I saw that 4 out of 10, I just thought, okay, this is going to be bad. Now, this is something that was funny that I saw. So, when it was released, when it was originally getting ready and all that kind of stuff, they were talking about it being 60 FPS, of course. AAA title in 2023, the packaging had seemingly already been done. So by the time they had to go back and they had to put a sticker on the top. I don't know if you can see that actually. It says 60 FPS performance mode not available at launch. They literally just had to stick stickers on there. They couldn't even actually change the packaging because somewhere on here it says 60 FPS. I can't actually see where that is. Oh, there it is. 60 FPS frame rate. Actually, you can't see it because I'm in the way. Let me just move me for a second. Oh, wait. No, that's not move me there. How do I move me? There we go. Ah! Where am I going? Holy shit! So as you guys can see there, 60 FPS. And then they obviously had to change it. Maybe I just stay in the middle. That's what streamers should do. Just stay in the middle. Hey guys, how you going? What do you mean you want to watch the video? I'm here. Alright? I'm in the center. Okay? Oh man, I mean that's when you know it's bad. When they're gonna get the stickers out. When they're gonna get the stickers out, that's when you know it's bad, people. That's when you know it's bad. What else did I see here? Oh yeah, that's right. Stealth, very good to be stealthy. Because you can get the kill, you see. If you're stealthy, you'll get the kill, right? You'll get the kill? No kill. No kill. Oh my god. Why does it sound like he's hitting like a giant fridge? See what I mean? Or like a car door. Sounds like he's slamming a car door. This guy's just Giga Chad. He's just strong. He ain't gonna be melee'd by nobody. Oh man. Eric says, optimize for the Xbox Series X. Yeah, alright, yeah. I mean, this is the thing, right? Like, oh, firstly, JB, thanks for answering first super chat. Cheered with another super chat. I appreciate that, man. Thanks so much. Yeah, this is the thing, right? With Redfall, all the writing was on the wall. Number one, it was a Bethesda title. Number two, it's an Xbox exclusive now. That's not to say about the bugs, but more about, you know, that's what you expect now. With anything that Xbox brings out, don't expect it to be, you know, making headlines for all the good reasons. When's the last time a Xbox first party came out that everyone's like, holy shit, man, this was incredible? Like, literally, when was the last time that happened? In the chat, I want to know what you guys think. I think it's been a hell of a long time. It's been a hell of a long time. Yeah, but like, here's the thing with Bethesda, they're trying to still like, not like show why they were worth being purchased, but this just like reaffirms this whole like, it's not saving Xbox. Now, as I said yesterday, if Activision was purchased by Xbox, I think they just need to buy any IP possible to stay afloat, because in the next 5 to 7 years, given how Xbox is going, I wonder if they're going to even stay in the console race. They may just exclusively become a third party that just makes IP, because it's not making sense for them at the moment. It really is not. Hi-Fi Rush. Fair enough. Okay, Hi-Fi Rush. In the chat, Hi-Fi Rush, there was like 400 people that said that. That is true. That is true. Forza, I mean, look, Forza, fine. But like, when I'm talking like, makes everyone turn their head and go, holy shit. Hi-Fi Rush did that. I agree with that. Everyone talked about that. Twitter, the reviews were really good, although it didn't sell as well as they wanted it to do. And it, you know, there's obviously some reasons around that. Maybe because it was the shadow drop. No one knew it was coming. It was on Game Pass. So I don't think it made the financial success that they wanted, but commercially and street cred wise, absolutely it did. It did a lot of good stuff. Gears of War. I mean, we talked about the last Gears of War. I played and reviewed that. And that's a long time ago, and that was a perfectly cromulent game. Like, it was fine, but like, it wasn't like amazing. You know, it wasn't genre defining, nor was it like generational. Like, oh, this is one of the top 5 games we have to think about, right? Where I feel like God of War, even like for me, Death Stranding, man, like Death Stranding was absolutely incredible. Even the return of Spider-Man back in 2018, and how that just like showed that you could do a fantastic superhero game that has all the you know, features of of like a blockbuster Marvel film, but has the heart. I mean, those emotional scenes in Spider-Man, especially towards the end. I mean, that really was a fantastic Sony game. Absolutely. You know? And like some people are saying last game they made was good was Halo 3. ODST, Reach, Halo 3, Halo 5 Guardians, Halo Infinite. Someone says, Gears 5 was disappointingly boring. Cell TV says, I don't think it was terrible. I don't think it wasn't amazing though. Like, it didn't hit, it wasn't like, oh my God, like we've got this incredible game now that's bringing back Gears. Because as you guys know, like Gears of War, when it first released, it really was a contender almost to be a flagship title. You know, it was AAA through and through, but also it was kind of like almost selling consoles, right? People were like, holy shit, Gears of War is its own thing that brings an audience to play, you know? And Cliffy B did that. And as the franchise continued, of course, and we've seen other iterations of that, like the XCOM style game that they made, and, you know, Gears, the latest Gears of War, it did diminish in kind of its premiumness, you know? It's not the same as it was before. It's the same with Halo, sadly. Same with Halo, you know? But we've seen before with other titles, like Gears of War, right? Gears of War was popular in its original kind of format, but they took a very bold decision and they completely revolutionized how we were going to see God of War moving forward, and it paid off. And I mention that because I think that games in general, even if they have a rocky road and they may have started really strong and then they kind of lose their way, they can come back. So who knows what happens in the future of Halo. But you know, in terms of games for Xbox and stuff, man, it's it's pretty few and far between that we see good stuff now from them. I'm just going to be honest. Hi-Fi Rush, yes, Hi-Fi Rush for sure. FF16 is Spider-Man 2 is massive for PlayStation. Absolutely, Gavin. It's going to be a huge year for them. And someone I saw on Twitter recently was talking about, like, FF16 is basically an exclusive for Sony. Like, they basically treat it as their own, like their own party now. They do dedicated 25-minute streams just to show, you know, Final Fantasy 16, you know? So in that regard, it feels like it's just completely under the wing. And we've seen recently, of course, where Xbox there's documents showing that Xbox has just been shut out from a lot of certain third-party titles because Sony makes these third-party titles sign agreements that don't allow them to put their games on Xbox, which is interesting. Super chat, appreciate that. $1.99. When was the last good PC port? It's tiring. Last good PC port. Oh, I'm trying to think. What's the last PC port that I had played? I honestly cannot think. It's live. Can't think at the moment what I've played recently, which was a PC port. I think the Spider-Man PC port was fine, right? Like I didn't play it, but I don't see people like going after it. Also, like in terms of just games in general with PlayStation when they bring them to PC, like God of War and stuff, like I don't think I don't remember there being any major issues with those. So if we were to look at any collection of games recently, maybe it would be the PlayStation coming to PC suite. Resident Evil 4 Remake was a good PC port. Was it a good PC port? Why do I remember people talking about it and saying it wasn't great, that there was serious issues with that? Or maybe not. Maybe I'm just talking out of my ass. Quick Gamer says, yeah, Spider-Man port was great. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. It's definitely been a while back onto the Xbox thing. It's definitely been a while since we've seen something actually good from Xbox. This is what I saw I was going to show before, but then naturally we watched ACG his review, but yeah, man, it's not looking good. Now this is funny, right? So Xbox was going full copyright. All right, Bethesda was like, holy shit, people are going to know this is a garbage game, and if they do, they're not going to buy it. Quickly, man the guns. They just tried to take down as many things, and in the process, they took down their own banner. Man. Now, if you go back onto Redfall, it's back, right? So, like, there's no point. Even like I checked, it's not even there. So, it is there. But they obviously just went into full panic mode. And like, let's talk about the long game here, right? When a game is garbage and they release it and they give you no review code for these reviewers, and then when they do, in fact, let you review it, they give you like 2 seconds to do it before it comes out. And then everyone on Twitter, everyone in the discussion, everyone that plays it, everyone that's going to be looking at the Metacritic score once it's finally out, they learn that they have been hoodwinked. Right? What's the long-term strategy there? You make your money and run? Well, you've got to make another game. Like, I've never understood this. It's such a short-term strategy. I mean, I would respect a developer so much more if they came out on camera, or even if they just did if they just came out in some sort of format on Twitter or YouTube or whatever, and they just sat there, hey guys, we've got some issues here. Like, we want to release this game because we're so excited to give it, to put it in your hands, but it is a bit buggy. It is a bit this and a bit that. If you don't want to buy it yet, that's okay. We'll let you know when we think it's right. But because X, Y, and Z, it's gone gold, powers that be, we need to still release this. We just want to let you know. Yeah, it'll cost them sales, but it'll build them credibility, and it'll make people come back for future titles. I really think that. I really think people will come back for future titles if a developer is just honest with the audience, because we're all not morons. Okay? Well, I am. But the idea that these developers and these companies play such a short game, How many, in the comment section, how many people will now not purchase a game day one? Or not pre-order, I should say. They will not pre-order. Because so many developers in the past have tried to hoodwink us. Do you know what I mean? The whole pre-order thing, there's a whole movement now of that. Like, where people are just like, no, I'm not pre-ordering. Fuck that. I know that this is maybe good, maybe not. I don't know yet, but all I know is my previous experience, and I can't trust these developers. Now, I'm not condoning like the whole sometimes on Twitter and sometimes, there can be very like vicious discussions. And like, there's definitely a way to talk about certain, if you're not happy about a certain game, that's one thing. But when it comes to like predatory gambling, microtransactions, and an extremely buggy, unfinished product that is barely playable, or is so grim and so bare of what it actually should have in a AAA title, and they deliberately hide all that, and they deliberately try and keep everyone from knowing that the game is terrible before the jig is up, before everyone puts their money down, I kind of put them I kind of put that next to predatory gambling almost. Like, I truly do. You know, if you're going to lie to everybody knowing full well, like Fallout 76, Todd Howard did end up coming out and saying, hey man, we knew this game was going to have a lot of issues at launch. Like, if you know that, like, Todd, come out and say it. You know, most people that are diehard fans of Bethesda and Fallout 7 and Fallout in general, they're probably still going to buy the game day one. At least they're going to get a heads up. At least they're going to get a heads up. You know? That's what it's all about. Just give us a heads up. Macharius, $1.64 Canadian dollars. Appreciate it, man. I appreciate you, man. Thanks so much. Francisco for $199. Thank you, man. It was 8 gigabyte VRAM issue for Resident Evil 4. I see. Okay. Yeah. What else have we got here? Oh, this is just like other stuff that I was going to talk about, but I might do this tomorrow. But Nintendo joins Gamecom, but that was like ages ago, but whatever. I'm throwing it in. It's brand new news today in the news show of news. How many times can we put news into a sentence? That's the game, folks. That's the game. But like, yeah, Maddox, I agree. Most people would respect the honesty. Most people, let's just play something in the background while we have a chat. Most people would respect the honesty. And everyone that I've shown their reviews that I'm going to put in the description and stuff, right? Yeah, most people will respect honesty. If you can just tell people, hey, this game is not really where we want it to be, but we've run out of time. You know, the powers that be need us to bring this game out. I, for one, if I heard a developer say that, I, for one, would be much more inclined to not only be easier on the game and experience it differently, right? Because when you're playing it, you're going to be experiencing it differently, very much based on the narrative that you've been, fed from the developers. And if they're going to be telling me the game is the bee's knees, oh my God, yeah, guys, you've got to play this, and then it's dog shit, then that's going to change the way that I'm going to think about the developer and the game. But if I go in knowing full well that, there's some strengths and some weaknesses, then I'm going to naturally go, well, okay. I know what I signed up for. I paid the money knowing full well what I was expecting. Can we think of the last time, chat, help me out here. Can we think of the last time that a developer came out and was like, you know what? This game kind of sucks right now, but we're going to release it. Just give us some time. We'll make it better. Can we think of one time that's ever happened? I would like to see that. Fallout 76 was the golden era of content. Star Wars Battlefront 2, golden era of content. Diablo Immortal, golden era of content. Fallout 76, golden era of content. Absolutely. Anything really Bethesda. Is Redfall trash on Xbox Series X? Well, it seems like it is, and it's 30 FPS, man. So, High Noon says, I feel sorry for Xbox users. Man, I feel sorry for them too. I think that they were roped into the idea that this was going to be a big console generation for Xbox, and they paid their hard-earned money, man. They paid their hard-earned money. You are getting value with Xbox, though. I'm not going to sell them completely short. You're getting Game Pass. You're getting their cloud infrastructure, and of course, you are getting some AAA titles that if you love Halo, if you love Forza, if you love Gears of War, if you love Redfall, and hey, if you if Starfield is good too, then that's also going to be part of that. So you are getting, a certain suite of features and services and games with Xbox. But if I had my time again, okay, I own both, right? But I didn't pay for them. Like, as you guys know, I did a review of both the consoles when they first came out. I was given both of those consoles, right? If I had my time again and I had to only purchase one, knowing everything I know now, it'd be easily PlayStation, right? It's so simple. And I think that a lot of Xbox players, as much as they may never fully want to admit it, if they had their time again and they only could purchase one, because a lot of people can only purchase one, it's $600 or some shit, man. It's a lot of money. If they could have their time again, then I reckon they would just go with the PlayStation. I mean, let's face it, better exclusives, higher population count for multiplayer games. Overall quality. Overall quality is higher with PlayStation games at the moment, first party. Simple as that. There's nothing else you can say on that. I'm sorry. Even you know, like games like, for me, Death Stranding was, it was previous gen, right? But like even like coming back to it for the director's cut on PS5, I just love what they offer on PlayStation, you know. And yes, Gears of War, Horizon Zero Dawn for a lot of people, Spider-Man. But yeah, I mean, you know, when you're playing a game, when you're entering an ecosystem, it's still very much about what kind of first-party titles are you offering. Now, as I said in previous episodes of this show, previously on Laymen Daily, I've definitely said that we're going to move away from first-party being as important as cloud gaming becomes more and more important, especially if Xbox just moves away entirely from being trying to compete in the console space, which is definitely on the cards. Quattre says they both suck. You know what? You suck, man. I'm a PlayStation apologist. Gavin says better performance in most third party somehow. Well, I mean, it is a more powerful machine, right? But as we remember, when the PlayStation and the Xbox came out, the architecture of the PlayStation 5 wasn't as powerful or whatever, but it had certain ways that it could certainly compete. And it does compete. I mean, it looks beautiful. It looks absolutely beautiful. Horizon Zero Dawn, you know, like the latest DLC, where they had to just exclusively put it onto PS5 and move away from PS4 to fully utilize the weather systems and how the clouds look and all that kind of stuff. Like, you know, the power in which they can get out of that PS5 it does look beautiful. And if you put it next to a Xbox, look at this. If you put it next to an Xbox, like, are you really seeing a huge dramatic rise in quality? No. And Xbox has been, you know, the most powerful console ever. For a long time now, they've been kind of touting that whole message. And that message has not worked for them. The message has not worked for them. If it had worked, then we'd be seeing a lot more people buying consoles from Xbox. But they're not. They're not. Xbox is down 30% year on year from their console sales. Yes, they're up 3% from their revenue and services and overall kind of package that they offer on Xbox. But their consoles are down 30%. Well, PlayStation just celebrated their 38th million PS5 sold. 38 million. You know? It's not looking good. Not looking good for Redfall. Not looking good for PlayStation. Not looking good for Xbox. So is Redfall's problem mainly a frame rate issue? Machina Incorporated said. No, it seems like it's a lot more than that. It sounds like it's story, overall gameplay mechanics, frame rate, bugginess, glitches. Bug and glitches, kind of the same thing. We're going to separate them because it sounds like there's more things to talk about. So it does sound like it's a hollow experience and not a good day for Redfall. And like the writing was on the wall last night when things were dropping and people were talking about it on Twitter. I'm excited to see more reviews of this though. I mean, it's going to be interesting to say the least. But I wanted to see what's it called? Donkey's review on this. I mean, I don't know if he'll do this though. This isn't really his type of game, but maybe he'll do it. Who knows? The frame rate, exactly right, Trevor. The frame rate is the cherry on top. Absolutely. PS Plus Extra is decently compared to Game Pass now. Well, this is the thing, right? So we're going to see PlayStation trying to nip at the heels of Game Pass, but I wonder if Game Pass is truly that profitable yet for Xbox. We hear them talking about it's about $1 billion of revenue per quarter, something like that, but that doesn't talk about profit. I think that's very much a gross figure. Bro, that's gross. You know, I don't actually think that they're actually talking about profit yet, because for them, I don't think it's about profit. It's about market share. It's about engaging people in the Xbox ecosystem and keeping them there. And there's been a lot of times when I've jumped on Xbox Game Pass and I'm like, far out, there's so much value here for 10 or 15 bucks a month. Like, there is a lot of value. But it seemingly is just not enough for them to fully compete with Sony. And Sony's doing their own thing now, back to your comment. Sony's going to continue to try and fatten out their own offering, their own suite. They're going to be trying to give people their own games to play too. But didn't they also recently take something away? I can't remember now exactly what they took away, but I thought that they took away some of those first-party offerings that they did if you did PlayStation Plus. Do you guys remember that? Something like that. Something like that. OG Xbox and 360 were fine. 360 was the most dominant time that Xbox has ever been. We had Halo 3. Gears of War was obviously in a better, in still a very powerful position then. Just games in general were flocking to them. And Xbox was in the position where it was the dominant player, so it could actually, it could create deals with like Call of Duty for exclusive content and all that kind of stuff, which PlayStation did in the future. But while Xbox was the dominating player, they're the one that were calling the shots and getting a lot of exclusive content for major titles. Xbox, the original Xbox, I mean, as I said before, Phil Spencer does say that Halo brought that to life and allowed it to flourish. But it was very much the beginnings. It was also the beginnings of like online play. And one of the big differences with the original Xbox compared to the PlayStation was the Xbox Live. Having Xbox Live compared to PlayStation, one of them was free. I think it was it Xbox Live that you had to pay $10 a month? And the PlayStation one was free. Do you guys remember that? I certainly remember that, right? There was certainly, one of them was free, one of them was not. And that played a factor in bringing people to certain consoles, because what, you want to pay a monthly subscription to be able to play online? Screw that. One of them was free. Like, as if you weren't going to include that in your decision making. You know? Natsu says Zelda wouldn't be a mess like Redfall. Well, let me tell you. If Zelda is a mess like Redfall, we can just pack it in for 2023. It's over, folks. It's over. Okay. And speaking of 2023 and Zelda, I thought that we were going to see, I don't know why I'm throwing Zelda in there, but 2023, I thought we were going to see a new Switch console, man. Now, there is rumors that they're going to be releasing, or they're going to be starting to talk about that and releasing some actual aesthetic pictures and some like the performance. There we go. The performance of the Switch Pro or the Switch 2 or whatever it's going to be called after Tears of the Kingdom, because they want to have all of the focus on Tears of the Kingdom, and then we're going to see it after, right? So if we get to the end of this year and we still didn't see anything for Switch Pro or Super Switch or Switch 2 or whatever you want to call it, I'll be very surprised, because it'll be ancient by then. Honestly, it will be absolutely ancient by then. I just hope that we do, in fact, see something before then. Because by what, 2024, they're going to start talking about Switch 2? Dude, that means it's not going to come out for at least 6 months, 8 months, at least. And if that's the case, we're looking at the end of 2024. If anything, I would have thought that Switch Pro or Switch 2 or Super Switch would have been maybe at the end of this year, but that's not happening. I mean, it came out in 2016, in the middle of the console war between the previous one, so it does make sense that they continue that tradition to be between to be between the consoles of PlayStation and Xbox. Like, that makes sense. But man, we're getting on. We're getting on. R says gaming is dead. Gaming is dead, everyone. Now, gaming's good. Gaming's alive, alive and kicking. Look at Redfall. It's definitely alive. I mean, these vampires. I don't have a joke for you. Thought I did. Sorry, guys. That's all I got for you. No joke about vampires. Gaming is dead, but I don't think it's dead, man. I think it's actually stronger than ever. I truly think gaming is stronger than ever in terms of the amount of games that we're getting. Apart from Redfall, there's so many options out there. Gaming in general, in terms of the streaming, like the streaming capabilities coming more and more online, the competitiveness in the space in general, the creative melting pot, the overall acceptance of now games being an art form is more now than ever before in 2023. Gaming is undead. There we go. Thank you. You guys are all my comic writers now. Fantastic. And I think just it's an exciting time because we are seeing very exciting titles come out in the coming months. Tears of the Kingdom, Spider-Man, Final Fantasy 16. A lot of people, of course, want to see that. Switch 2 or Super Switch is going to be hopefully coming out soon. We're also going to be seeing some sort of like maybe a handheld console from PlayStation. Like it's pretty unclear what that is, but there's definitely rumors about some sort of handheld console for PlayStation. So I'm excited. Gaming is more criticized than ever, for sure. I don't know if it's... I absolutely agree with that, sorry. Absolutely agree. In terms of people saying that they don't like a game and they go to Twitter and they talk about it. The mouthpiece is much bigger now for people to talk about what they actually think about games. There's a lot less room for error in today's gaming. Before, you could maybe like... you could do Superman 64 and everyone's like, this kind of sucks, whatever. If Superman 64 came out today, oh my God. It would be World War III for gamers. A lot less room for error, a lot more competition, and a lot more standards that we just expect. Like 60 FPS. 30 FPS is like, dude, 2005 called. You know what I mean? Like, it's bullshit. It's ridiculous. It's honestly ridiculous. It's like bringing out a game and going, sorry guys, the sticks, no, you can only use the D-pad. Sorry, like, we don't have that feature. It's just so built into like an FPS game. Sorry guys, you can only use the D-pad. You can only move forward, back. Like, imagine bringing up GoldenEye, kind of FPS, those kind of mechanics, that kind of gameplay in today's standards, and going, guys, sorry, we didn't have the time. Shit, man, sorry. It would just be so unacceptable. And it's the same with 30 FPS, man. It's the same as 30 FPS. And here's the weird thing. The game doesn't even look good. The game doesn't look good. Look at it. It looks like a PS3 game. I mean, I'm being honest now. It doesn't warrant a 30 FPS, excuse. They can't sit there and be like, look, guys, we're giving you pretty real life looking shit here, so here's 30 FPS. Then people would be like, all right, you know what? This is pretty good. It looks pretty amazing. Let's give them a bit of wiggle room here because it does look so good. But no, it looks like a game from 2005. It honestly does. Oh man, I've had a good rant today. Guys, I appreciate everyone here. I appreciate you, fam. Thank you all so much for the super chat. Good to see you again, $2. Appreciate you, man. No one cares. Project Red still has fanboys. They do have fanboys, and that's a perfect example of a game and a franchise where people would be much less inclined now to pre-order. They'd be much more hesitant to be excited about any sort of game from CD Projekt Red until they've played it and seen the reviews. Perfect example. All right, guys. I appreciate you guys. Thank you so much for tuning in today. I had a great time with you. Redfall is a meme. And we'll come back with... Okay, so what we're going to do in the next couple of days, as I wrangle up all the, the glitches, the bugs, we'll just have more and more fun looking at Redfall fail miserably. All right, guys. Thanks so much. Have a wonderful day, and I'll see you next time. Laymen out.